Today we are going to discuss the topic center of mass of chapter 7 of physics CBSE class 11th. The center of mass of a body is a point where whole mass of the body is supposed to be concentrated for describing its translatory motion. For example, just consider a triangular body, a triangular plate you can consider, and say the center of mass of the triangular plate is lying at this point. Now if the entire mass of the body is say capital M, so now we can suppose it to be a point object and we will consider the mass of that to be capital M. Now since the laws of motion is applicable to a point object only, so using center of mass we can obtain a point where we can concentrate the entire mass of the body and hence we can apply the laws of motion. The center of mass of a system of particles is that single point which moves in the same way in which a single particle having the total mass of the system and acted upon by the same external force would move. So for this, let's consider two masses, say M1 and M2. These are the two particles connected by a say massless rod, so they entire form a system. Now just suppose the center of mass of the system lie at this point C, and now we apply a force F at this point. So what will happen? The system will move in some particular direction. Now just suppose at the same location, I suppose to be entire mass of the system to be concentrated, that is say M1 plus M2, and we apply the same force F at this point. So what will happen? The point will move in the same direction as it was moving in a complete system. So we can use of a center of mass to obtain this point, and then we can apply the laws of motion. The use of center mass is what? The concept of center of mass of a system enables us in describing the overall motion of the system by replacing the system by an equivalent single point where the entire mass of the body or a system is supposed to be concentrated. So it can be applicable to a particular body also or a particular system where we have a large number of particles. Now some basic about the center of mass we are going to discuss. Here we are considering two particles, one having a mass m1, another having a mass m2. And the distance of m1 from the point O, which is the origin, is say x1, and that of the another particle m2 from point O, the distance is x2. Now we have to obtain the center of mass. Just suppose that the center of mass is lying at the point C. So the distance of point C from the point O, just suppose let it be x. So how to obtain the value of x? The x value will be given by m1, the mass of the first particle, multiplied by its distance from the origin, plus mass of the second particle, multiplied by its distance from the origin x2, divided by the total mass of the system, which is m1 plus m2. So this is how we can obtain the point x, which is the center of mass. So in this case, what has happened? The two particles m1 and m2 were lying in a straight line. There was use of only one axis, that is the x-axis we are using. Now just suppose that the two masses m1 and m2 were equal in this case, so they were equal to mass m. So we can say the center of mass in this case will be given by x1 plus x2 by 2, which is the midpoint. So now suppose if masses m1 and m2 are equal to the point C, which is the center of mass, will lie in between the two particles m1 and m2. Here in another case, we are considering n number of particles having masses m1, m2 until mn, and their relative respective distance from the origin are x1, x2, and xn respectively. So for that case, we can obtain the x coordinate of the center of mass like m1, x1 plus m2, x2 till mn, xn divided by m1, m2. This will be divided till mn, and this complete is the entire mass of the system. Now this can also be written using this symbol summation. Here I equals to 1 to n. We have to add mi ni divided by summation I equals to 1 to n mi. The part denominator I equals to 1 to n mi is equals to capital M, which is the entire mass of the system. Now here we are going to consider two particles lying in an xy plane. That means the two particles are not kept in a straight line, they are somewhere in an xy plane. It means that we have to find out the y coordinate as well as x coordinate. So for x coordinate we have already discussed. The x coordinate of the center mass will be what? m1 x1 plus m2 x2 upon m1 plus m2. In a similar way we can find out y also, which will be m1 y1 plus m2 y2 whole divided by m1 plus m2. So this way we can find out x and y coordinate. Here also if m1 is equal to m2 equals to m, that means the two masses are equal. So the x value will be what? The midpoint of the two, which is x1 plus x2 by 2. And similarly y will be also y1 plus y2 by 2. So this way we can find out x and y coordinate of the center of mass. Here we have suppose there are n number of particles. The masses are m1, m2 till mn, and their respective coordinates are x1, y1, x2, y2 till xn, yn. So for such case, the x coordinates will be what? I'm directly writing the form of summation. So I equals to 1 to n mi xi divided by capital M. And in a similar way, for a y also we can write down like this. I equals to 1 to n mi yi divided by capital M. So this way we can find out x and y coordinates respectively of the center of mass. Here we are considering all the three axes x, y, and z. That means the particle are anywhere in the space. So for such case, the x, y we have already discussed. One more point will be there. That is z axis. So here for z axis we can write I equals to 1 to n mi zi upon capital M. So this way we can obtain the z coordinate also. Sometimes what happens, we will be getting in the form of position vector. So just suppose the position vector r1 is given as x1i y1j plus z1k. In this way, we are given for the particle 2 also, particle 3 also till particle n. So what would be the position vector of the center of mass? It will be suppose represented by capital R. So it will be written in the using the summation part I equals to 1 to n mi ri. This ri is a vector whole divided by capital M. So this way we can get the position vector of the center of mass. Now we are going to discuss few questions, and here we will see how to find out the center of mass. We are having two particles m1 and m2, and the distance between them are given as r. So what we are going to do, we will assume that say the particle 1 having mass m1 is at origin, And since the two particles lie in a straight line, so the coordinates of the particle 2 should be r comma 0. Now, first of all, we are going to find out the x coordinate. For x coordinate, 0 multiplied by m1, that means the coordinate of x coordinate of m1 is 0 plus r into m2. The x coordinate of particle 2 is r divided by m1 plus m2. We are getting it as m2r upon m1 plus m2. In a similar way, let's find out the y coordinate. The y coordinate will be what? 0 into m1 plus 0 into m2. So we can see that the y coordinate of both m1 and m2 are 0 divided by m1 plus m2. So we can say that center of mass y coordinate is 0. So finally, the center of mass is given as m2r upon m1 plus m2 comma 0. So this is the answer for the center of mass. Let's see another question. Here, the two different masses are there, 1 kg and 2 kg, and their respective coordinates are given. So the x coordinate of the center of mass will be what? Minus 1 multiplied by 1 plus 2 multiplied by 2 divided by 2 plus 1, that is 3. So here we are getting the x coordinate center of mass is 1. Similarly, y coordinate of the center of mass will be what? 2 multiplied by 1 plus 4 multiplied by 2 divided by 3. So we are getting as 10 by 3. So we can say the center of mass is 1 comma 10 by 3. So now let's move to the next question.
So in this question, we have to find out the center of mass of an isosceles triangular plate having a base of A and altitude P. Now, to proceed for this question, first of all, we have to assume a differential strip. Suppose this is a differential strip I have considered, and just suppose the distance of the differential strip from a vertex is say y. And thus assume this be a point O, origin 0, 0. Here, the width of the strip is say dy, and say the length of the strip is L. So these are the factors which we have assumed. Now let's proceed with the question. The mass of the triangular plate, I'm assuming it to be M. Plate, it has been assumed to be capital F. Okay. What next? We have to find out area of this plate. So area of triangular plate will be what? Half base into altitude. So half B into A. That is the area of the. So we can write AB by 2. It is the area of the triangular plate. Next, we have to find out mass per unit area. So to find out the mass per unit area of a triangular plate, we have to do M divided by AB by 2. We can say that 2M by AB. So that is the mass per unit area. Now let's find out the area of the strip. So we can assume this area to be rectangle, and it is having one side say dy and another side is say L. So the area of the strip will be say represented by dA is L into dy. Now if the area is known and mass per unit area is known, so we can find out the mass of the strip. So mass of strip represented by dm is mass per unit area, which is 2m by AB multiplied by L into dy. So now the mass per unit area was known, so we have found out the mass of the strip dm. Now we have to find out the value of L. So just come to the main figure. Here, just see the triangle OAB and say ODA. So the two triangles we are going to see, and we can find out that the triangle OAB is similar to the triangle ODE. So OAB triangle is similar to ODE, and hence we can say that if they are similar, so L by A will be equals to Y by B. So just come back to figure. L, one side of a triangle, upon the base of the bigger triangle will be equals to the altitude of the smaller triangle Y upon the altitude of the bigger triangle B. So we can say here that L by A should be equals to Y by B. So we can say that L is what? AY by B. So in the equation below, we can say that L equals to AY by B. In the above equation, I am replacing the value of L, and the dm value we will be getting as 2m by AB multiplied by AY by B dy. So here what you will see that A will be cancelled out, and we are left with 2m by B square Y dy. So this is done. Now let's see the formula of the center of mass. So here, to find out the coordinates of the center of mass, first let's see what about the x coordinate. So here, what you can see that if you consider this line, so what you see that the left and right side of this are symmetry. It means that center of mass x coordinate should lie at this point itself. So if x coordinate lie at this line, so we can say that the value of x coordinate should be 0. So the value of x coordinate is known to us. We have to find out the y coordinate only. Okay. So for the y coordinate, what should be the formula of the center of mass? Y. Center of mass will be given by integration of y, the distance of differential part from the origin, multiplied by the mass of the differential part divided by integration of the differential part. So now let's see what should be the limits of the integration. So just see the figure and find out the limits of the integration. So here you see that the y value, when the strip was here, so we can say the y value was 0. And at last when the strip will be here, so we can say that the y value will be equal to the complete altitude, which is b. So the value of y starts from 0 to b. So let's put the limit as 0 to b, 0 to b. And now we are going to put the values of y, dm. The value of dm is already there. So the integration 2m by b square, y square, dy, and the limits are 0 to b. Below, we know the integration of dm will be the complete mass of the system, the total mass of the body, which is capital M. Already assumed. Now, let's the constant part we will be bringing outside. So 2m by b square, mm will be cancelled out. We are left with 2 by b square only. And here we will going to integrate y square. So we are getting as y cube upon 3. And we are going to put the limit 0 to b. So here on putting the limit, we will be having b cube by 3. So the finally what we are left with, that is 2b by 3. So the y coordinate of the center of mass is 2b by 3. So we can say that the center of mass here will lie at a distance of 2 by 3 from a point O below in the downward direction. So that is how we find out the center of mass. Let's move to our next question. Find the center of mass of an equilateral triangle of side A. So now for a triangle, isosceles triangle, we have already discussed, and we have found out that the center of mass, if this is an altitude, so the center of mass should lie 2 by 3 from the point O, say. Okay, so first of all, we have to find out the length of this OD. So this is point A and B, so we have to find out the length OD. So since it is an equilateral triangle, so what should be the length OD? The altitude. So the altitude of an equilateral triangle is what? 2, 3 by 2 A. It is the side of an equilateral triangle. Now we know that the center of mass should lie at the 2 by 3rd OD. So the center of mass C should lie at 2 by 3 of OD. So 2 by 3 into root 3 by 2 A. So we are getting as A by root 3. It means that point C here will lie at 0 comma minus root 3 by minus A by root 3. So this is where the center of mass lie, or we can directly say from below the point O at a distance of A by root 3, we will be having the center of mass for an equilateral triangle. Now let's move to the next question. Find the center of mass of a triangle whose vertices are 0, 6, 8, 12 and 80. So this is the triangle given to you. The vertices are known to us, we have to find out the center of mass of it. This is a triangle in which all the three sides are of different length. So first of all, what we are going to do is, we are going to draw a line parallel to BC like this, so that we can divide the triangle into a number of, say, thin sheets like this. Now for each of this area, we will be finding out the center of mass. So at the midpoint of them, we will be having their respective center of mass. So we have divided the triangle into different areas like this, and we have found out the center of mass of each. Now, if we draw a line connecting all these, so what it is line? It is called a median line, which will be meeting the side BC at a midpoint. So it means that center of mass of this triangle should lie on the median, say AD. In a similar way, we can say that the median drawn from a point B would be like this. The median drawn from a point C would be like this. And from A, we have already discussed like that. So as it should lie in a line AD, similarly, if we draw a concept from BE, it should also lie on BE. And similarly, it should also lie on CF. It means that there is only one point common to all, which is this point, which is known as a centroid, where all of the medians are meeting. So this point is known as a centroid. And we say that the center of mass of a triangle always lie at the centroid. So now we have to find out the coordinate of the centroid. So if the coordinate of the vertices are known to us, how we can find out this vertices of the centroid? So suppose this is the center of mass C. So let's find out the x coordinate. The average of the coordinate of the three vertices, which is 0 plus 8 plus 8 divided by 3, 16 by 3 is the average of the x coordinate of the three vertices. Similarly, find out the average of the y coordinate. The average of the y coordinate is 6 plus 0 plus 12 divided by 3. So 18 divided by 3, 6. So the center of mass xy coordinate will be what? 16 by 3, comma of 6. This is how we can find out the center of mass of a triangle, which is having all the three sides of different length. So it should lie on a centroid. And how to find out the coordinate of the centroid? If the coordinate of the vertices are known, we have seen it. Now let's move to the next question. Center of mass of rod of length L and a negligible thickness has uniform mass distribution. So it is having a length L and the thickness is negligible. So the y coordinate is not required, only the x coordinate is required. And now we have assumed a differential length of, say, dx size at a distance of x from the origin O. Now, first of all, we are going to do is mass per unit length of rod is, say, let lambda, which is a constant value. Now, the mass of differential length dx would be what? Let it be equals to dm. So what should be the value of dm? Mass per unit length lambda multiplied by the length, the required length, which is dx. So lambda into dx is the value equals to dm, that is the mass of the differential length. Now what next we have to do? We have to find out the center of mass, the x coordinate of the center of mass, so x into cm. So here in the numerator part, we have to integrate x, the length, the distance of this differential part from the origin, the mass of the differential part, in a denominator integration of the differential part. Okay. So here let's substitute the value of dm. So we are getting as lambda x into dx, and in the denominator we are doing lambda into dx. So let's see what should be the limits of the integration. So the value of x, when the differential part was like here, it was 0 as shown here, and when the differential part will be here, it will be L. So it means the x range is from 0 to capital L. So the integration limit should be 0 to L, 0 to L. So lambda will be cancelled out, and we are left with x square by 2, 0 to L, and x 0 to L. So we are getting as L by 2. So the center of mass x coordinate will be L by 2. So we can say that the center of mass will lie at the midpoint of the rod. This is, say, C. So the value of this is what? L by 2. Center of mass of a uniform semicircular ring of radius r. Here a semicircular ring is there. We have to find out its center of mass. So now consider this particular line. We can see that ring is having symmetry along left and right side of this line. It means that the center of mass should lie along this line. If we consider this point to be O, which is, say, origin So we can say that the x coordinate of the center of mass will be 0. The only thing we have to find out is the y coordinate of the center of mass. So for that, we have considered a very differential part of say length dl, which is subtending a very small angle, say d theta. So this differential part has been considered say at an angle of theta. Let this obviously the radius of the ring. Let this side be OAB. Okay, so we can find out the side AB, which is say the differential part length from the origin. The distance of the differential part from the origin is y. So using triangle OAB, we will try to find out y. We can say that this AB is approximately equals to y. So we will find out AB and we will assume it to be equals to OY. Sorry, to be equals to y. Since DL is very small, so we can say that AB is equals to y. So in triangle OAB, we can say that AB is equals to r sine theta, which is equals to y. Now, the length of differential part dl is equals to r d theta. Here r is the radius of the ring and d theta is the angle subtended by the dl. The mass of differential part dl will be say given by dm, that would be equals to lambda r d theta, where lambda is the mass per unit length, which is obviously constant for this particular case. Now let's apply the formula of the y coordinate of the center of mass. It is given by integration of y is the distance of the differential part from the origin, multiplied by the dm, the mass of the differential part, integration of the differential part dm in the denominator. Now let's substitute the value of dm both in the numerator and the denominator, and also substitute the value of y. So on doing it, we are substituting the value of y, which is r sine theta, and that of the dm is lambda r d theta whole upon lambda r d theta. Now for this integration, we have to find out the limits. So let's see the figure again. When the differential part is at this part, we can say the theta value was approximately 0 degree, and when finally the differential part dl will be at this side, so we can say that the angle theta will be pi. It means that theta changes from 0 degree to pi. So the limits are like this: 0 to pi, 0 to pi. Now let's integrate it and bring the constant outside. So lambda both in the numerator and denominator will cancel out, and r square in the numerator will be 0, and r in the denominator, so the r is left in the numerator only. The center of mass y is r, and let's integrate here. So d theta in the numerator we have to integrate, and the denominator we have to integrate d theta. So the numerator part differentiation, so integration of sine theta will be minus cos theta. So that minus sign I'm bringing here, and this cos theta, let's put the value limit 0 to pi, and here integration of d theta will be theta, and putting the limits we will be having pi itself. So cos pi is minus 1, cos 0 is 1, so minus 1 will be minus 2. Minus 2 multiplied by minus r, so the center of mass is 2r by pi. So it means that the center of mass from this point O will be at a distance of 2r by pi above the it. So the center of mass would be 0, 2r by pi. Now let's move to the next question. Center of mass of a uniform semicircular disk of radius r. So this time we have to find out the center of mass of a disk, the semicircular disk, semicircular disk of radius r. In our last question, we have found out the center of mass of a ring, the semicircular ring. Here the semicircular disk. So to proceed for this question, we will be assuming a differential ring of say width dy. Let us assume the radius of the ring be y. Now obviously the disk is having a symmetry along left and right, so the x coordinate will be 0. We have only to find out the y coordinate. So what would be the y coordinate of the center of mass? Here it would be mass of differential ring multiplied by y coordinate of the center of mass of differential ring divided by the total mass of the disk. So this formula we are using to find out the center of mass of a complete disk. So here y coordinate of the center mass of the differential ring. That means we have to use the concept we have developed in the last topic, that is the center mass of a ring. That will be applied here. So first of all, let's find out the area of the differential ring. Say represented by dA, it would be pi into y. 2 pi y would be the complete circumference, since it is semicircular, so pi into y. Multiply by the width, which is dy. So this will give us the area of the differential ring. Now let's find out the mass per unit area of the disk. Let's assume the total mass of the disk is capital M, so divided by pi r square by 2. So since it is a semicircular disk, so pi r square by 2. So mass per unit area will be 2m by pi r square. Now let's find out the mass of differential ring. Say represented by dm, it is what? 2m by pi r square. That is a mass per unit area multiplied by the required area, which is pi y into dy. So this is what? This is the mass dm of a differential ring. Next, let's apply it on the formula we have already discussed. That is y coordinate of the center of mass will be what? 4m by pi r square x square, sorry, y square dy. So we have substituted all the values. Now let's see the limits. What should be the limit of the y? Obviously, when we consider the ring to be the nearest to the O point, so we can say it would be value 0. The y value will be 0. And when we consider here, so we can say that y value is equals to capital R. That is the radius of the disk. So it means that y limits are from 0 to capital R. Now we will be divided by the total mass m. Now here the integration will be what? Will be cancelled out. We will be left with 4 by pi r square. It will be integrated, so it will be y cube by 3. So we can say it is r cube by 3. So finally the answer will be 4r by 3 pi. So it means that the center of mass of a semicircular disk will lie at a distance 4r by 3 pi above the point O along this line. The y coordinate will be this and x coordinate will be 0. So this is how we find out the center of mass of a uniform semicircular disk. Now let's move to our next question. Center of mass of a hollow hemisphere of radius r. So this time we have to find out the center of mass of a hemisphere, and it is hollow, means it is empty from inside. A thin shell is there. So here, to proceed with the question, we will be considering a differential ring in this way. So here, from a point O, just suppose it is at origin. Here the ring has been assumed. So the ring has been assumed, say, at a distance y from the origin, and the width of the differential ring is forming a very small angle, say d theta, and it is subtend at an angle theta from the base, from the x-axis, and let the radius of the differential ring is small r. Let this side be OAB. Now, in triangle OAB, the r can be written as r cos theta. If this side of a triangle is r, so the r can be written as capital R cos theta, and y can be written as capital R sin theta. So we have found out the r, small r, and y in the terms of capital R and theta. Now let's start with the area of the differential ring. What would be the area of differential ring? So it is a hollow hemisphere. So what would happen? It is a ring. It is empty from inside. So what should be the area? 2 pi r, that is the circumference. And what is the width of the ring? The width is given by this part. So it is subtending a very small angle d theta. So this side, the width can be given by a product of r into d theta. So this is how we have found out the area of the differential ring. Now, what is the mass per unit length? Mass per unit area of a complete hollow hemisphere. Let it is having a capital mass capital M, and divided it by 2 pi r square. So capital R is the radius of the hollow hemisphere. So for a complete sphere, we are having the surface area equals to 4 pi r square. For a hemisphere, the surface area will be 2 pi r square. Now, mass of a differential ring, that is dm, will be what? dm would be mass per unit area, that is m divided by 2 pi r square, multiplied by the area of the differential ring, which is 2 pi r into r d theta. So in this expression, I would be substitute the value of small r, which is capital R cos theta. And r will be r square cos theta d theta. So here what you are seeing, that the r square in the numerator and the denominator will cancel out. 2 pi also will cancel out. So we are left with m cos theta d theta, that is the value of dm. Next we have to find out the center of mass. So the formula for the center of mass is, for a y coordinate, it is distance of the differential ring from the origin, which is y, the mass of the differential ring, which is dm, divided by the integration of the mass of the differential ring, dm. Let's see what should be the limits of this integration. So now see, when the differential ring is lying very close to this, we can say that the angle subtend will be 0 degree. And when it will be lie at the top point of this, we can say that the angle subtend will be pi by 2. So that means theta changes from 0 degree to pi by 2. So let's put the limit over here, 0 to pi by 2 and 0 to pi by 2. So here in numerator, substitute the value of y. In above, first of all, we have found out the value which is r sin theta. So directly put the value of y, r sin theta, and for this is m cos theta. So m r I'm bringing here, and it is sin theta cos theta d theta. Here in the denominator 0 to pi by 2, we are having m cos theta d theta integration. The limits are 0 to pi by 2. So constant part I'm bringing outside. So m numerator denominator will cancel out. Here we are having capital R in the numerator. What we are doing is we are multiplying and divide by 2. Now we are multiplied with and divided by 2 to make it a property 2 sin theta cos theta, which is equals to sin 2 theta. So r by 2 is left here. We have to integrate sin of 2 theta in the numerator, and we have to integrate cos theta in a denominator. The limits are 0 to pi by 2. So on integrating sin 2 theta, we will be having cos of 2 theta by 2. The limits are 0 to pi by 2. And here we will be having a minus sign over here. And here sin theta 0 to pi by 2. Now what next? Let's bring this minus sign and by 2 outside. So we are having minus r by 4. Here cos 2 theta, when I put the limit pi by 2, so it becomes cos pi, which is minus 1. And when I substitute 0, so cos 0 is 1. So minus 1 will be minus 2, and this minus is already outside. In a denominator, sine pi by 2 is 1, sine 0 is 0, so we will be having just 1. So here we are having r by 2. It means that the center of mass of a hollow hemisphere is at the distance of r by 2 above this point O. Now, this is how we find out the center of mass of a hollow hemisphere. Now let's move to the next question. Center of mass of a solid hemisphere of radius r. So here, to find out the center of mass of a solid hemisphere, we have considered a differential hollow hemisphere. Say this shaded part is a differential hollow hemisphere. Let us say at a distance x from the point O origin, and say the width of the hollow hemisphere is dx. Now, what should be the center of mass of the y coordinate? It will be given by integration of mass of differential hollow hemisphere multiply by y coordinate of the center of mass of differential hollow hemisphere divided by total mass. This is the formula we have to do. So first of all, we are going to find out the mass of the differential hollow hemisphere. So for that, we will be finding first of all volume of differential hemisphere. It is 2 pi x square multiplied by dx. What would be the mass per unit length? Sorry, mass per unit volume. Suppose m is the total mass, so m divided by the volume of a hemisphere, it is 2 by 3 pi r cube. So we are getting as 3m by 2 pi r cube. So this is the mass per unit volume. Next, what we have to do, the mass of the differential hemisphere. So mass per unit volume multiplied by the required volume. So this is how we find out the mass of the differential hemisphere. Let's simplify it. This 2 pi will cancel out. We are getting 3m by r cube x square dx. Now just come back to the original formula of the center of mass for the y coordinate. So we are done with the mass of the differential hollow hemisphere multiplied by the y coordinate of the center of mass of the differential hollow hemisphere. So here, how to find out the y coordinate? In the last part we have just done that it should lie either r by 2. If it is a hollow hemisphere of radius r, so the center of mass lie at r by 2. So here the differential hemisphere is having a radius x, so its center of mass should lie at x by 2. So here y center of mass will be integration 3m by r cube, which is a constant part, x cube dx, sorry, x square dx was already there. X by 2 is the center of mass distance from the origin of the differential hemisphere. Here we can say that the total mass is capital M. Now let's bring the constant part outside, so the mm from the numerator denominator will cancel out, and we are having 3 by 2 r cube as outside constant. Here we are integrating x cube. What should be the limits of the integration? So let's see the limits of the integration. When the hemisphere is here, so the x value will be 0, and finally when it will be here, so the x value will be capital R. So it ranges from 0 to capital R. So let's see on integration, we are getting as x power 4 by 4, limit 0 to r. So finally we are getting as 3 r by 8. So that is a y coordinate of the center of mass of a solid hemisphere. Now let's move to next question. Center of mass of a right circular solid cone of base radius capital R and height h. So let's see the diagram. Here what is the differential part? The differential part, what I have assumed, is this disk. So here the thickness of the disk is what, say, shown over here, dy. It is at a distance of y from the point O origin. The total height of the cone is small h. Now let's see how to solve a question. First of all, we have to find out the volume of the differential disk. So what should be the volume? It will be pi x square, since x is the radius of the disk, pi x square multiplied by dy, which is the width of the disk. Now what would be the mass per unit volume of the cone? Let the total mass, I have assumed it to be capital M. What is the volume of the cone? It is 1 by 3. It is, say, pi r square h by 3. So we can say that the volume is 3m by pi, let it be capital R, pi r square h. So r is the radius of the cone. So 3m by pi r square h, that is the mass per unit volume. Now what is the mass of the differential cone? So mass of the differential cone, say represented by dm, would be given by mass per unit volume, which is 3m by pi r square h multiplied by pi x square dy. Now we have to find out the value of x in the terms of y. So for that, let's consider a triangle, say OAB and OCD. So in triangle OAB and triangle OCD are the similar triangle. If they are the similar triangle, so we can say that x by r will be equals to y by h, and we can say that x is equals to yr by h. So here, in place of x, I can write as x will be equals to yr by h. So the value of dm is what? 3m by pi r square h multiplied by pi x square value is what? Y r square by h. So it will be y square r square by h square multiplied by dy. So here the r square in the numerator and denominator will cancel out, the pi value will cancel out, and we are left with 3m by h cube y square dy. So that is the value of dm we are left with. Now let's apply the formula of center of mass ycm will be what? Integration dm. dm is the differential part is at the distance y from the point O. Okay, so here it would be y divided by the integration dm in the denominator. What should be the limits of the integration? Just see what should be the limits. So the limits of integration when it is lying at this part, so it will be 0, and finally when it is lying on the base, so it will be h. So y value ranges from 0 to h. Let's substitute the values. I'm bringing it outside. So here we will be having 3m by h cube outside. So here integration of y cube dy divided by the total mass, let it be capital M. Now the mm will cancel out and we are left with 3 by h cube. Integration of y cube will be y 4 by 4. And we know what are the limits 0 to h. So we are getting as 3 h by 4. So just from the vertex at a distance of 3h by 4, we will be having the center of mass for the y coordinate. X coordinate will be 0. This is at origin. If we ask the center of mass from the base, so it will be h by 4. And if it is from the vertex of the cone, so it will be 3h by 4. So this is how we solve a question for a cone. How we find out the center of mass for a cone. Now let's move to next question. Mass density variable is now. Now we are going to consider that where the mass density is not constant, it is variable. So for that we are considering one example of a rod. A rod of length L having negligible thickness has a linear mass density. So it is given that the mass density is linear, varying linearly. That varies linearly with the distance from the ends from lambda 1 at one end to the lambda 2 at other end. So what is the mass density? It is lambda 1 at x equal to 0 and lambda 2 at the end x equals to L. So we have to find out the where it would be a center of mass. So for that, let's start that the linear mass density is given by lambda and say it is equals to a plus bx if it is varying linearly with the distance x. Now we have some variable known that when x is equals to 0, lambda is lambda 1. So if we substitute this value, we are getting the value of a as lambda 1. So value of a we have calculated. Another boundary condition which is given is when x equals to capital L, lambda is equals to lambda 2. So here let's substitute the value. Lambda 2 will be here. A is already be known, lambda 1 plus b into L. So value of b we have to find out. So value of b will be lambda 2 minus of lambda 1 divided by L. So this is how we find out the value of b. Now we can say that the value of lambda is what? Lambda 1 plus lambda 2 minus of lambda 1 L into x. So this is how the mass density is varying. We have found out the value of a and b also. Now let's find out the value of dm. Okay. So here obviously we have considered a differential part as we have considered in the last question of the rod, and the distance of the differential part is say at a distance x from the origin. So what should be the mass of the differential part? So the mass of the differential part is represented by dm. Okay. So it should be the product of lambda into dx. Okay. Just suppose the linear mass density at a point at a distance x is what? Lambda. Okay. It will be multiplied by dx, so we will get the total mass dm. Now the center of mass will be given by dm, that is the mass of the differential part, multiply its distance from the origin divided by integration of the mass of the differential part. Now let's substitute the values here. What should be the integration limits? Just see integration limit when the differential part here it is 0, and when it here so it is capital L, it means the limits are 0 to L. So on substituting the value of dm and x, we are having 0 to L lambda 1 plus lambda 2 minus lambda 1 on L x by x into dx, and here we are having 0 to L lambda 1 plus lambda 2 minus of lambda 1 upon L x into dx. So this is what we are having. Now we are going to simplify it further. It will be lambda 1 x square by 2 0 to L plus lambda 2 minus of lambda 1 by L x cube by 3 0 to L all divided by lambda 1 x 0 to L plus lambda 2 minus of lambda 1 by L x square by 2 into 0 to L. So here let's bring common L outside. We are having lambda 1 L square by 2 plus lambda 2 minus lambda 1 L square by 3. Lambda 1 into L plus lambda 2 minus lambda 1 L by 2. So further simplifying, we are having lambda 1 by 2 plus lambda 2 by 3 minus of lambda 1 by 2 divided by lambda 1 plus lambda 2 by 2 minus of lambda 1 by 2. Lambda 1 by 6 plus lambda 2 by 3 lambda 1 by 2 plus lambda 2 by 2, and at last on simplification we are getting as L by 3 lambda 1 plus 2 lambda 2 upon lambda 1 plus lambda 2. So this is the final answer of the center of mass. X coordinate we have obtained, y coordinate will remain 0 and the thickness is negligible. So this is how we follow a question when the mass is not constant. The mass per unit length is not constant, it is changing. Now let's move to a next question. Now consider the last question. From a uniform disk of radius capital R, a disk of radius r by 2 is scoped out such that they have a common tangent. Find the center of mass of the remaining part. So what you're seeing, this is the diagram which we'll be drawing. This was the complete disk, and out of this, a part of this disk has been removed, and the remaining part is left. In the question, it is asking find out the center of mass of the remaining part. So what you will see that the center of mass of a complete disk without cutting it, it was at a point O. I'm assuming that this point is at origin 0, 0. The portion which has been cut down, say it is this, having a radius r by 2. So obviously its center of mass, say, is O dash, which is the center of this disk, and the radius is r by 2 known. So obviously the distance of O dash from O is what? R by 2. Now after the part has been removed, so that's disk with the remaining part will be having a center of mass obviously to the left side of this somewhere, say O double dash, say this point is having a distance of x from the O. This x basically we have to find out. Now for that, what we are going to do, that what are the two particles? One particle we can assume that the circular disk of radius r by 2, the part which has been removed. The another particle we can assume that is the remaining disk. So we are constituting the two particles, and these two particles forms a complete system. What would be a complete system? Initial complete disk. Now the center of mass of this initial complete disk is at O 0, 0. The center of mass of this and this we have to find out. So we are going to use a very simple formula that the x, the center of mass of the complete initial disk, say it is equals to 0, equals to m1 x1. This is, say, of this disk plus m2 x2, say, of this particle divided by m1 plus m2. So the first particle is the disk which has been removed. So we will be finding out the masses of both the particles. So let's find out area of the first particle first of all. So the area of first particle will be pi r square by 4. Since r by 2 is its radius, so the area will be pi r square by 4. What would be the area of the second part, A2? It will be the total area of the disk pi r square minus the area which has been removed, pi r square by 4. So it is 3 pi r square by 4, the area A2. Now since the mass per unit length or mass per unit area is constant for this system, so we can say m1 will be a1 into lambda, that is the mass per unit area. So we are getting, say, just assume this to be m. I have assumed let this be m. So what should be the value of m2, which is a2 into lambda. So we are seeing that it is 3 times of this. So if it is m, so it should be 3m. So just we have found out the ratio of m1 and m2. If m1 is m, so m2 should be 3m. For value that is not required. So what next is 0 equals to m, the first particle, and its distance from the center of mass O is r by 2. So here we are having m multiplied by r by 2 plus 3m multiplied by x, the distance of O double dash from O, that is I have assumed to be x, divided by m plus 3m. So if we want to find out the value of x, we are getting as r by 2, r by 6 minus sign. So we are getting minus sign. It means that O dash, O double dash, that is center of mass of remaining disk, lies at left of O origin. So this is how we solve the question whenever a part of the system is removed. So you can see another pattern of question. Here you can see a square sheet was there and this shaded part has been removed. We have to find out the center of mass of the remaining part. So try to apply the same concept what we have discussed in the above question. Another type of question you can see is here you have to find out the center of mass of a T-shaped plate. So find out the center of mass of the two different areas. One area is this, another area is this. Find out the center of mass of the two areas, and using that we can find out the center of mass of the complete system. Another variety of question is this: 3 masses 3 kg, 4 kg and 5 kg are located at the corners of an equilateral triangle of side 1 meter. Locate the center of mass of the system. So it's very simple question. For the equilateral triangle we have already known. So try to practice these questions. If you face issues, you can contact me at a WhatsApp number mentioned at the starting. Thank you.